Anyone else playing golf with these guys?
Actually, there are two veto power. The first one is legal. So legal is really gatekeeper, and they want to make sure we are not violating any laws, especially not going to damage them in any means, especially brand equity. And they concern very much on the privacy of our technology, and they want to make sure we have a really good user agreement. And United States, each state going to have different privacy law, so they want us to make sure that we are not violating any state's privacy law in any means.
So these guys don't care whether you work with the company or not. They just want to keep their company safe, and they can veto the deal.
Absolutely. They only care about any downside risk which can cause by using our product.
There's no upside to this. There's only downside.
Downside, yes.
And you're not going to get them enthusiastic, except that there's no risk. And that's what the legal department does in this case.
And another department which has veto power is purchasing. These TV networks are big organization, so we need to register ourselves as their vendor. And that process takes a long time. And after that, we also need to register our bank account, like tax information, a lot of information. And if we cannot correctly provide this information, of course, we cannot be registered as a vendor. As such, we cannot serve them. So these people also has veto power.
So the purchasing department, this group doesn't really care whether you work with the company or not.
Not at all.
Sometimes people get confused. They think they're the customer because they're signing the check. The budget actually resides, as you said, back with the economic buyer. That's the key point. And the purchasing department's job is to serve that economic buyer and end user. So they want to provide a service for them that's in compliance with all the regulations and other rules of the company, and they want to try to drive the price down. So if you try to sell to these people too much and try to make them happy, they're going to drive the price down, which is not in your interest. You just want to neutralize them and continue to focus on the primary role to make sure they're enthusiastic, because they're your real customer. Purchasing is not your real customer. Purchasing customer is the economic buyer and end user. So you can get confused with purchasing. All you want to do is neutralize them and take away their veto power, and then focus on the other people in a decision-making unit.
So this seems like a very important point as an entrepreneur bill. Make a distinction between the primary economic buyer and the purchasing department.
Absolutely. It's a mistake that I've made, and I think most entrepreneurs have made before, spending too much time focusing on the purchasing department and not enough time where the value is actually created, and that is with the end user and the economic buyer.
And Jan, speaking of veto authority, is there anyone else in this architecture who's got veto power?
Sure. So actually, head of research is not only influencer, but he's also has veto power, because he usually one TV network has one head of research, and this person is well respected in the industry and in the organization, even by CEO. So any new data come into this organization, the head of research need to clearly take a look at the data and to make sure this data's methodology, technology has its true value. Otherwise, as salespeople use our data in the presentation, then someone gonna attack. Hey, like a TVision data really sucks and the methodology is completely wrong. Then this organization gonna get huge damage by using our data. So that's why head of research has veto power to make sure our data is in line with all standards in this industry, and our methodology can actually prove the ground truth of the audience behavior.
And I like the way that you've got a big veto up there as a small veto down here, because the people down below have explicit veto. They sign off and that's all they do, and then they're done. This person has de facto veto power and explicit veto power. And they are also representing in the executive suite, or the so-called C-suite, where our champion can't go. So it's important that Jan get that person not just neutralized, but positive and even enthusiastic about it, because they can kill the deal just even by their silence, but we need them to do more than that. We're not just neutralizing. They're a different veto than legal or purchasing.
Yeah. And so requires a different kind of approach to neutralize the explicit veto, which you do by being detail-oriented, following the rules of the company, and neutralizing the implicit veto.
And you have to understand the nuance of any situation. As we have all these functionalities here, I think Jan's given us a really good, rich description of one situation. And so when you, the entrepreneur, are going through, make sure you have all the functions, but also understand what your specific situation is. And I think Jan has done a really nice job describing it here and showing how there is vetoes, and then there are other places where there are big vetoes.